And we are live with a new podcast, The Thick Boys Fight Club. What's the first rule of Thick Boys Fight Club? Always talk about Thick Boy Fight Club. Rule number 2, you keep talking about it even though nobody wants to hear about it. Isn't that right, Nick?
That's exactly right. And that's exactly the rules you guys better follow. But yeah. So no, today,
Live and breathe them.
Yeah, live and breathe the rules. We'll be saying the rules a lot, so be ready. I'm just kidding. But anyways, so this is we're under the new name now, guys. Thick Boys Fight Club.
That's right.
We're gonna be running with that. So if you when you see us added on YouTube or not, just remember who we were formerly. But yeah, so anyways, guys, we're gonna go over a little MMA news for you guys today, as well as like we do every week, we will go over all the picks from UFC 250 from the main card. We have locks of the weeks. We also have just some interesting things to talk about.
That's right.
So
yeah, why don't you start us off right with the news, Nick?
All right, guys. First off here, we got Henry Cejudo is back in the news. He today announced that he wants to go in a boxing match versus Ryan Garcia, who is an undefeated WBC silver lightweight champion. What's your thoughts on that?
I'm not opposed, man. Tell Dana White, let's sign this thing up, get the UFC involved, they'll get their cut, let the man become the greatest combat sport athlete of all time. The only thing I think he'll never accomplish that he's always wanted to do was fight a woman, but that's probably for the best. But I think, yeah, why not? He's like, the guy wants to be he wants to, do something that nobody's done before. He already has. He just wants to make it even more difficult for the next kid that comes around. I'd totally buy the pay-per-view, no doubt.
Yeah. They want to do this fight in Saudi Arabia. I mean, I'm all for it too. He seems actually like he has a boxing body type, honestly, more than a MMA guy, to be honest with you. But we'll see if that comes to anything. I mean, he's saying he's retired, obviously, still, but that's one of his things he wants to check off his bucket list.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's just also the money there will be a lot more than what he'd be making in the UFC. I think it's just honestly going to come down to the UFC also has to be able to benefit from this, or there's no way they're going to do it.
Yeah, 100%. All right. Also, we got here Colby Covington back in the news today, making himself relevant.
What's my boy talking about?
Talking a lot of trash today. He basically called out Dustin Poirier and Jorge Masvidal, saying now basically that now that he's detached himself from the team, now it's fair game that he can fight these guys. He called both of them bums, things of that nature.
I like it. Honestly, of the two, I would want to see him fight the most is Dustin Poirier, just because Poirier has that incredible cardio and is a really, well-rounded MMA fighter. And I think the two of them combined would make a great fight of the night. Whereas if he fought our boy Jorge, if Jorge doesn't knock him out in the first round or two, I think it's just going to be a mauling. So.
Yeah, I mean, I will say the same thing. That dude's got some crazy cardio, so that would be quite a bit of a feat there for old Jorge. As much as we all want him to win, might be a little too much to overcome for sure.
Especially at his age, he's only got 1 or 2 fights. Give Jorge the title shot, and then maybe one other big super fight. And I don't see him having much more than that, honestly.
Yeah. All right. Also, we got here a little bit of sad news here. Kid is fighting on the prelim. His name is Cody Stamen. Sorry. I believe that's how you say that. Am I correct?
Yeah, something like that.
His 18-year-old brother actually died last week. Kind of want to pay attention to that one. I think, this could go either way like we were talking about. But usually when something crazy happens in someone's life, they do extraordinary things.
Yep.
What do you kind of think about that one?
It all just honestly depends on the person. Like we were talking about earlier today, is everyone compartmentalizes things differently and how they deal with grief. Because, some people deal better when they can just go back to work. But to me, it's just they're kind of hiding their emotions or like just covering them up. Honestly, if it was me, I think I would have just pulled out of the fight and done it later. But again, we don't know his financial situation, if this is, he needs this money, or if this is just something he felt like he worked so hard to and he wants to dedicate it to his brother. But either way, our thoughts and prayers are with the guy, and hope the best for him, for sure.
For sure. All right, and then in a little better news here, we're finally getting some fights on Fight Island. It's finally going to happen.
Let me know who the main event is.
So The first one will be on July 11th. We're going to have Nunes versus Andrade. We're going to run it back.
It's goddamn about time. So my girl, Thug Rose, can beat the shit out of that bitch.
Yeah.
Because she's the GOAT.
Thug Rose is going to land her ass right on her head again. Night. Secondly, then, we got on July 18th, so the weekend after, we're going to have Gastelum versus Hermanson. I'm going to have to look up. I know we were kind of just talking about it earlier here a second ago. Unfortunately, I don't know why I can't think of who Hermanson is at this exact moment. I'm sure if I see him, I'm going to be like, oh, my God, that guy. But, yeah, we all know Kevin Gastelum, household name.
Yeah, he's a beast. Just an absolute savage.
Probably going to be a good fight there, for sure.
Yep. But we'll just dive right into the main card if that's it with the news.
That's it.
Yeah, so we're going to start off right in the beginning with Eddie Wineland, 24-13-1, coming in at 35 years old, fighting Sean O'Malley, 11-0, 25 years young, who is Nick's boy. Break it down for us.
I am on the Sugar Show. I love the Sugar Show. I want more of the Sugar Show. All the time I want the Sugar Show. Guys, this is I'll start off with this, though, real quick. I'm loving this fight card because it is a total bantamweight night. We're gonna solve some things. We're gonna get some shit worked out. We're gonna have some clear, probably 1 through 5. We'll have a clear decision. I mean, we're gonna have title shots, title contenders. We're gonna know it all after this. This is gonna be a great night for the bantamweights.
Yeah, no doubt. This is really going to mix up the division, give us some clarity, especially since Cejudo left the division. This is gonna be a really good card because this is kind of going to, decide what the future is going to look like.
Exactly.
No doubt.
Okay, but going back to that fight, obviously I'm going with Sean O'Malley here. He's the younger kid. I think they're putting him against an older dog to put this old dog out to pasture. And Sean O'Malley hits his time to reign.
Yeah, I kind of get that feeling that I preach a lot that, the UFC does every once in a while selectively pick fighters and give them tune-up fights. Or, there's no such thing in the UFC as a real tune-up fight, but as close as you're going to get to one. However, I think Eddie Wineland here is a true veteran. He's fought some of the elite of the division. He's 35 years old. Yes, that means he's probably coming out of his prime now, but he's still close enough to it where I think he's going to have an advantage to Sean O'Malley. He's got some really great speed. The only thing is his hands do hang low, which I don't like. He's a boxer wrestler, has some really good takedowns. Sometimes I want him to control the bottom or control the person a little bit more when he's on top. But this is actually going to be my lock of the week, man. I think Eddie Wineland's just going to be too much of a crafty vet.
Unbelievable.
He's been in there with some of the top dogs. And at plus 300, 350, man, you got to go in there and try to make that money. I'm feeling really good about this. And Sean O'Malley, I was talking to someone earlier today about it. He hurt his foot in this fight against some kid. And the only reason he won that fight is because that kid gave it to him. Hurts his foot. All he had to do was have him stand up, try to walk around the ring. Would have won that fight. And then what does Sean O'Malley say? Oh, I think I broke my foot. Turns out nothing's wrong with his foot. He's just crying over nothing.
It was basically wrong with his foot?
Nothing wrong with his foot. Literally was probably just a bruise. Guy's never been hurt in his life, and he's about to get some cracks from our boy Eddie Wineland. I'm telling you, take the plus money on this one. It's worth it.
What's the plus money on the fight?
Eddie Wineland is plus 350.
Whoa. Yeah.
And Sean O'Malley is minus 500 for a guy who legitimately I'm not talking shit at this point. Who's he beaten? Who has he beaten to be a minus 500 favorite over a guy who's fought the elite of the division? Well, I don't know. He's got 3 fights in the UFC. It's ridiculous. It's a hype train. It's about to get derailed. I'm telling you right now.
Out. I hope for your sake, I hope you're right. Because, if I'm right, I'm going to be talking some mad shit. All right. Well, that was that one. Next up, what do we got?
The next fight here, we got Neil Magny, 22-7, 32 years old, versus Anthony Rocco Martin, 17-5, coming at 30 years of age. I'll start this one off. No, I'll start this one off. So Neil Magny, he's not a spectacular boxer in any way. He's kind of just an average kickboxer, in my opinion. He's solid, but he's not special. He's he's not great at even using his range. He's a very tall, lanky guy, which kind of surprises me that he doesn't really use that jab. But his last fight, I will say, he did look incredible. He's got some really good knees inside the clinch. And then turning to Rocco Martin here, he's got some really great submissions, very interesting guy to watch. However, he is a very limited striker. But the one thing I do like about his striking, in particular in his last fight, is the calf kicks. He doesn't abandon them, and we've seen Magny susceptible to leg kicks, and I think that might really help him win this fight. It's hard. It's kind of a toss-up for me, but the smart money is Magny should win this fight. This is his fight to win, honestly, and that's who I'm going to pick, but don't count Rocco Martin out.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. I wouldn't count Rocco Martin out, but I got to go off facts and what I watched and what I see. And Magny looked amazing that last fight. I mean,
yes, he did.
Made me a believer after that. You know, he's got a bigger reach on this guy. I think he's going to be able to pick him apart. I know what you're saying with the leg kicks, but I think the reach is going to be able to keep that at a little bit of a distance away from him. I really don't think that's going to come down to it. I'm sure he will get some cracks in, obviously. This is a fight. But, yeah, guys, I think the smart money here, Magny all day.
Yeah, definitely the safer pick without a doubt.
Okay, so at least we agree on something so far.
Yeah.
All right.
The next one, Aljamain Sterling versus Cory Sandhagen. Sterling comes in as 18-3 at 30 years old, and Cory Sandhagen 12-1 at 28 years old. Nick, why don't you take us off?
This is gonna be the fight of the night.
No doubt.
No doubt about it. I'm glad we're agreeing with that. I'm actually so excited for this fight. Like, I can't wait to watch this one. I have to tell everyone or the fans, I'm sorry, I don't have a pick for you on this one. I can't come up with a winner. I have no good decision. I have no good advice to tell you one way or the other. This is a straight up going to be a dogfight. And I can't believe this isn't the co-main event, to be honest with you. It should be. I mean, these are both guys in their prime gonna go at it. And there can only be one winner. Who will it be? I couldn't tell you.
So you're abstaining? Is that what you're saying?
I'm abstaining. You didn't expect that one, did you?
That one.
I'm honestly neutral on this. I can't pick a winner. I've tried. That
seems like a scared way to get out of a fucking pick.
I sat here and I kept going back and forth, and I can't come up with one. You want me to pick a guy? Fuck it.
Yeah,
I'll pick one.
You got to pick one. We always pick,
I'm going with Sandhagen.
He's going with Sandhagen. Cory Sandhagen there, guys. So this is how I feel about it. Nick is totally right. This is fight night. This is this is the real main event. This is really where you're going to see a competitive fight against guys who are about the same technique levels. They're both coming into their prime. They're surging towards a title shot. Aljamain Sterling is definitely the more well-known household name of the two. He's a Matt Serra black belt. He's really good at using his kicks and keeping his distance. He's very intelligent. He doesn't get caught up in the moment, get sucked into a brawl here or there. No, he's always on the outside, always picking you apart. He almost uses his kicks as a substitute for a jab. He just uses it to really gauge his distance, keep his opponents away, and knows how to hit and not get hit. And then on top of that, he's great about switching his stances. But saying that, he's literally fighting someone for the first time, I believe, that's taller than him and has a longer reach than him. This guy is practically – has so many similarities, but I'm going to break down some major differences for you. They both are great with their range, staying on the outside, picking their opponents apart. But with Cory, he's definitely more of that traditional Muay Thai, Dutch kickboxing style, where his strikes are a little bit more – what's the word I'm looking for? Just things you see more normally. However, he's great about mixing them up so that you don't know what's coming. He has a great flying knee. I give him the power advantage in his hands and his shots, whereas I give Aljamain Sterling the speed advantage. They both probably have about the same level of jiu-jitsu, but definitely Sterling has the advantage in the wrestling realm.
Yeah.
This was one, like Nick said, I was going back and forth between who I thought was going to win, this guy, that guy. And if I could, I would took the same thing as Nick. Just be like, I don't want to pick. There's, and
But you
Vegas
must
agrees
pick.
with us.
As
But
you
if I
said,
must
you
pick,
must pick.
and so just to be controversial and
Oh,
just to tell you what a coin toss it is, I'm going with Sterling.
What were
Aljamain
you?
Sterling.
Okay, if I
No, but really,
said,
no.
what
If
were you
I'm
gonna
no, no,
pick?
no. If no, really, who I'm gonna pick is Cory Sandhagen.
All right.
I give it to him just because he's got a little bit more power in his hands, and you know what? Sterling does tend to struggle just a little bit with somebody who puts the pressure on him. And if Cory's been watching any film, I'm going to foresee a lot of body shots to Sterling to really slow him down. And I think that's going to wear him out and help him get the win. So I'm picking Cory Sandhagen in this coin toss.
There we go. So we got Sandhagen on this one. I mean, I think it's virtually equal, to be honest with you. Sandhagen's pretty fast too, man.
Oh, no, definitely. I'm not saying he's like that much faster than him. I'm just saying like you give him just the slightest edge in the speed department. Just like you give the slightest edge in the power department to Cody Sandhagen.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. They're so evenly matched. That's what's going to make it exciting.
Well, I think the reason I'm going with Sandhagen, honestly, I feel like he has a wave right now that he's riding and he's high on it,
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm coming from on that one. All right. Next up.
Oh, yeah. Next up, we've got Raphael Asuncao, 27-7, 37 years old, versus Cody Garbrandt, 11-3, 28 years old. Just a quick thing really fast. Raphael Asuncao is coming off of a 2-fight losing streak where Cody Garbrandt is on a 3-fight losing streak. This is a make-or-break moment for both these fighters.
It is. And I can tell you this, Cody Garbrandt is without a doubt ready to get back in the saddle. He has said the demons are behind him. I think what happened to poor Cody Garbrandt here, I mean, he came up fast, real fast, right? I mean, hot. And he got caught up with that whole TJ Dillashaw shit. And I think that fucked with that dude's head. He's a lot better than what he's only got 3 losses, but he's a lot better than the last fight that he lost. I don't think he was there yet. That fight was like, I mean, kind of, gross, honestly. I mean, very sloppy, just slobber knocking. And he got caught, and it was kind of like, what were you doing? Like, it was almost like you just showed up and said, fuck it, I'm ready to fight. It wasn't like a trained UFC martial artist. So, but I think Cody's ready to do this, and I think they're feeding him this guy. Honestly, age always seems to be the determining factor a lot of times in this UFC game. Cody Garbrandt's the younger guy; he's ready to continue on with his career. Other dude's on his way out. The funny thing is, looking at how this whole bantamweight picture plays out here, though. And I'm sorry, what is the gentleman's name Cody Garbrandt is fighting? One more time.
Raphael Asuncao.
Asuncao just lost to Sandhagen. That was his last fight.
Yep.
So, just to kind of show you there. What do you got?
I'm with Nick. I'm picking Cody Garbrandt in this. It's not really a hard one to pick. Nick's right. Yeah. 37 years old. The guy is getting a little bit up there in age. He's just not very fast. He's got some, he does have, but it's always a thing. Power is the last thing to leave. Like, speed is the first. And you can just see it with Asuncao. His speed has really deteriorated since being, starting martial arts. And Cody is just young, still fast. He's just got some really crisp boxing. He's really done well mixing in those kicks as we saw in his last couple fights. He just does get sucked every once in a while and just biting down that mouthpiece and just going toe-to-toe with somebody. And he doesn't need to do that. He's so good with his movement, so good with his head movement. And his boxing is just so crisp. He can pick people apart. He doesn't need to do that. But, sometimes you just want to prove you're the baddest dude in the room and just fight stupid. I mean, and that's what –
sorry.
Yeah. No, go.
Yeah, no, I mean, his problem just was, like, he fought so good when he beat his name just drew a blank for me.
Cody, TJ Dillashaw.
No. He lost to TJ Dillashaw.
You're talking about the guy who just lost.
Yeah.
Cruz, something Cruz. Fucking yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
Cruz.
Yes.
I can't remember his first name right
Now
off the
you
top of
have
my
me
head.
completely.
But he was crying about the stoppage when he fought Cejudo.
Yes.
Um,
Dominic
yeah,
Cruz. Sorry
Dominic
about that,
Cruz. There we
guys.
go.
But he looked so strong against Dominic Cruz. I mean, dancing, flowing, and then just kind of fall flat on your face against TJ Dillashaw. Not once, but twice. The
But you
first
can't blame the guy. The guy lost to a
100%.
person on EPOs, steroids. The guy was literally a walking
100%.
science
But
experiment.
that's what I mean. So that kind of tells you too. Then he got beat unfairly, and it rocked his mind. And then he wasn't really in this right mindset, and then he took this last loss. So not that we need to keep going into that. But yeah, I think Cody Garbrandt's ready to turn the page. He's ready to become a champion again.
Yeah, I want to say it should be an easy night of work for Cody Garbrandt if he does this smart, does this right. Of course he has a chance to lose because Raphael does have power in his hand, can knock people out, but it shouldn't happen unless Cody Garbrandt makes, just doesn't
But I can
fight
tell
smart.
you, I don't know that's gonna happen, and I just want to go with that's my lock of the week for you guys. So Cody Garbrandt, make them pocketbooks full.
Yep. And just really quickly, the odds on that one. Let me pull that up for you. Yeah, Cody Garbrandt minus 150. That's not too much juice on it to make some money.
Not at all. All right, and then next up we got the
main event. Amanda Nunes, 19-4, 32 years old, the greatest woman fighter of all time, living and breathing right here, right now, defeated every single women's featherweight UFC champion to ever live, versus Felicia Spencer, 8-1, 29 years old. Supposedly she's a phenom. I don't know. When I watched her fights, I didn't see what was so phenomenal about her. She's slow. She doesn't look very physically intimidating. Her ground game is pretty solid.
Canadian sensation.
Yeah, the Canadian sensation. I don't see it at all. If that's what a sensation in Canada looks like, Jesus, I don't want to see what average looks like. Okay?
Whoa.
Amanda Nunes should just mop the floor with this girl. I mean, she should beat her in every realm of this game. There's not one thing that I can see Felicia Spencer being better at her than. Honestly, I'll make this a lock of the week. Amanda Nunes, but no one's going to take that fucking juice to make that money.
Yeah.
This should just be a cakewalk. I'm sorry not to give you like a very specific breakdown of this, but I don't feel like we need to.
Yeah. Well, what kind of happened here, obviously, was that night, her last night when she fought, the Australian girl fought as well. And I wish I had this pulled up in front of me right now. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. But they were basically battling for who was gonna fight Nunes. They both got knockouts that night, and then Amanda Nunes is on there twittering or Instagramming. All right, they both look good. Dana, whoever you pick, I'll fuck them up. That's kind of the way this went down. I was kind of excited at first. I was thinking, Spencer, maybe she can pull this off. But I'm with you, man. After watching some footage and whatnot, this poor girl, hey, strong fight against Cyborg. No doubt about it. Hung in there. But then you got to think about this. Was it the same Cyborg that we were used to people fighting? Because she fought a Cyborg that had just literally got her ass whooped by Amanda Nunes. And is coming right back in. So I don't think we got the same level of Cyborg that we were always used to.
Right, and Cyborg cut so much weight to make those fights, you know what I mean? Even Joe Rogan, when I was rewatching the fight, he's talking about how he thinks Cyborg was severely diminished in her capacity to fight because of the weight cut, just to get down there. Like, she's a girl who should really be fighting at 155 pounds, 100%. Not at 100,
Yeah.
But the only way Felicia Spencer wins this fight, she gets the takedown and gets a quick submission. But the longer this fight goes, the slimmer and slimmer these chances get.
Which would be amazing. But I don't think that's going to happen tonight, Saturday night. I don't see that. I got Nunes all the way on this one.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement.
Okay, so there we go. So we pretty much agree on everything, guys, except for Sean O'Malley and Eddie.
Yeah, and Nick is too emotionally invested in this guy, so take my advice. Even if you lose, let's just say you lose this bet. It was totally worth it to try to make plus 350.
Oh, yeah, no. If plus 350, you got to go for the biscuit. You got to go for it. I agree with that, but I'm just telling you, Sean O'Malley's going to whoop the shit out of that dude.
I'm looking forward to it.
Sean O'Malley literally said in an interview today, he's going to knock that guy out. That's what he said. Get ready for a knockout.
Hey, man, anything's possible. But like I said, I'll take a crafty veteran who's fought the best in the world at his division against a young up-and-comer who's had only 3 fights in the UFC. Give me the vet.
All right. So we got a couple picks for you guys. We got 4 agreements, so that's excellent. Hopefully, we can all make some money on a Saturday night here on UFC 250, coming from you live from Apex in Las Vegas. We will be back with you guys following that for a recap. We'll see how we did, how we broke down, how much money we made. We'll go over all that type of bullshit, and we'll go over whatever news is going on at the time. You got anything else to add in there?
No, that's about it. Just, as always, please hit the like, the subscribe button. Remember, talk about us all the time. Talk about that Thick Boy Fight Club, even if nobody in the room wants to hear about it.
All right. Perfect. Well, yeah, guys. Well, sorry, this one is a little, this is going to be a good fight card. It's not as exciting as we like it to be, obviously, with some big time names, but we'll get through this. This is going to be a good night of fights, and we'll kind of see what happens after that with a bantamweight division.
Exactly.
Guys.
This is low key an exciting fight card.
Low key exciting fight card. That's exactly a good way to put it. All right, guys. Well, good night. We'll see you guys soon.
Yep. Check you later. Peace.